say that they are from among the Muslims. They say you have answered their question, but they are just too. You have told me they are Muslims. Then they said, okay, you pass that one. You are truly intelligent. Let's see whether you will pass this one. Then the two of them. Ahuma fil Jannah am finna. Will they be in Al-Jannah the day of judgment or in hellfire? All al-Imam. Aqulu fihima ma qala al-Khalil alayhi salatu wassalam. Fima huwa ashamu minhuma. I will answer you the same answer that was given by Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam about people who are worse than these people. And what was the response of Ibrahim? Ibrahim tells Allah in Surah Ibrahim, and I quote, فَمَنْ تَبِعَنِي فَإِنَّهُ مِنِّي. Whoever is a Muslim and believes in me, Allah, is of me. وَمَنْ يَعْصَانِي. But whoever disobeys this message, فَإِنَّكَ غَفُورٌ. You can forgive them if you so wish, Allah. وَأَقُولُ كَمَا قَالَ عِيسَى عَلَيْهِ الصَّلَاةُ وَالسَّلَامُ. And I also tell you about them the same thing that Isa said, إِن تُعَذِّبُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ عِبَادُكَ. وَإِن تَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ فَإِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. We belong to a group that do not label Muslims as kuffar. No matter the sins of a Muslim, if Allah likes, He can overlook everything and put them in Al-Jannah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
May Allah accept it as ibadah. In the course of the talk, he made reference to chapter 80, verses 1 to 3, and then went on to quote the verse of Noah, for the benefit of those who are writing down. That is actually chapter 70, not 80, 70, 11 to 16. And he was telling us how selfish the people of Jahannam will be, right? You see, the interpretation that he gave is not his own interpretation. That is actually the words of Allah. That he will say that as long as I am saved, whether it's my wife, it's my child, or whatever. In fact, that ayah continues. He says, including all those who have ever helped me on the surface of the earth, put all of them in that fire as long as I am saved. May Allah save us from it. Amen. However, in chapter 80, there is a similar verse, and that is 80, 34 to 36. يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ. For Allah also, in the same book, in so many places will tell us about Al-Jannah. And in Surah 2, that is chapter 56, right? There is a section of it from 27 to 40. Allah did not talk about anything other than Jannah. In fact, at the beginning of that surah, it says, Surah Ayah, I want there. I want to come now, I want to you. That is how merciful Allah is. Amen. Before we take questions,
thank members, sisters, brothers who attended our third national discourses today. Those who were there would agree with me that we left the place with very sound knowledge of the workings of electricity, energy, and power in Nigeria. And inshallah, all the media organizations are able to broadcast them, so please be attentive to. One of them, those who also give us money to sponsor to finance the program, I want to thank you. May Almighty Allah replenish your pockets and enhance your income. Those who are able to give give us money. The Almighty also give you reward for at least morally supporting us. Inshallah, the DHP that he mentioned, I wrote it on his table, but he has indirectly mentioned it, that it is, of course, a national program. There's a window for indigent participants. If you can afford 5,000 and just come there, we have a provision for you. Our target is to have 1,000 participants. So the 600 that the district is working on is not actually our target. So if you have cousins, relations that will be less busy during that period, encourage them to come. Even though it is the duty of the district to bring you down. But when you get there, you can be sure of a free feeling and free knowledge and participation in the program of the program. So for 10 days, inshallah, we'll take your registration at the national level. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ustaz Ibrahim Hassan has some contributions to make. I joined the Amir to thank Professor Inshallah Ibrahim Uthman. It's a long time I've seen him personally. Himself and the like of Professor Muhammad Yaqub, few of people who are scholars who are also activists. Usually scholars are not activists, they are scholars. When they are scholars, they are activists. Jazakumullahu khairan. Professor, like I call him, taught us heart close to Allah. In his submissions, he made two very quick minute submission, but very, very important, very far-fetching. And I captured it. I didn't know whether I do. He mentioned what's simple is that there are some group of people who do what is called takfir, who easily label other people as unbelievers. And if you are close observer of what's going on in Nigeria recently, you find that we have had such people now who easily call other Muslims as kuffar. And I've seen some people who are very worried. I'm one of them. But what he said, we shouldn't forget, is that Islam was less than 100 years old when some group of people who are Muslim are already labeling Muslims as kafir. So while it may be frightening, I just think it's important to remind us that it's a phenomenon which is as long as almost as the beginning of Islam. Because those who will refer to as the Khawarij, who are the first major sect to emerge after Islam, who used to be followers of Imam Ali, radiallahu anhu. So, having such people among us now should not be something that appears as if it has never happened. My solution is to remind us to tell our children to take a cue from what they have just said, not to join people who regard Muslim as kafir. When you see somebody whose qualification is equivalent to GSS 3, and now call somebody who has a PhD in Islamic Sharia and call him a kafir, when you see somebody who has equivalent of the just GSS 3, now saying that he wants to teach somebody who has a PhD in Sharia. What I'm saying is nothing new, because these are people who went to Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, who has the greatest number of followers from that time till today. The greatest number of Muslims are in Madhab Hanifa, Imam Abu Hanifa, up to then till today. All the Southeast Asia, yet at that time, they want to do takfir on him. So, you shouldn't therefore be surprised if it happens. That's the point I want to make. The second very important one, which also made in closing, which I also captured, was a prayer for your parents. When my children were still young, and when we used to live together, now no one lives together, I live together with my wife now. Yeah. When they were still young, we had an habit of praying together at least every Saturday. And that's the only thing we can guarantee, likely everybody will be at home. And we always end our prayer with praying for our parents who are gone. Though my children will not know this, I actually am trying to teach them that one day I will be gone. Yeah, that is the reason why I don't need them to join me pray for my parents. But I know that I will need their prayer when I'm gone. And their mother certainly will do so. So we form the habit every Saturday to pray together and to end by praying for my father, my mother, my father-in-law, and my mother-in-law. I'm commending to those of you who still have the time. We don't know what we are going to Allah with, but we certainly know when our children pray for us, they are Muslim, Allah says it will get to us. May Allah continuously guide us.
My only suggestion is just a plea. I like the organizers of the companion, the national discourse for yesterday. It was a very insightful lecture. I was actually there, and I would love everybody to have a feel of it. I don't know if they can just send a soft copy of the presentation into the companion, the criterion, and whoever is interested. It's a very, very good way, and you'll be amazed at what is happening in the power sector, and especially in Nigeria. Thank you.
My question is on this giving donation. As mentioned in your as mentioned before, you said when you want to give something, a donation to somebody, the left hand must not know what the right person is doing. But whenever you give it to somebody and started telling people to thank you, is there any reward in that? These are these on 7 sort of people that will be under the shade of Allah with your judgment. The issue of the just leader. Actually, it's not as if I don't know who a leader is. But please, let should emphasize. You know what we say leaders? In our head, we are thinking the president, the governor, the imam, the mayor. But I've been thinking like deeper than that. It's like almost everyone is like a leader in their own capacity. So, please emphasize who really are these leaders we are talking about.
I have 2 questions. I hope you will indulge me. Number 1 is concerning prayer for the parents after they are gone. It is common practice here that we are just asked to recite Usrah in class. Is that sufficient, or are there better prayers, whether in the Quran or in their hadith? That's number 1. Number 2, we are told that when our parents are gone, we have obligation to pray for them. But we also know that sometimes children die before their parents go. Will the parents also have obligation to pray for their children? If they have, what is the kind of prayer that they will observe?
But before Dr. Uthman would answer the questions, let me mention that Ustad Ibrahim Hassan was not talking in abstract, and I thought he was actually going to what happened 2 weeks ago. Some of you here would know that one of our brothers was jailed for 2 months, 2 weeks ago, right? This brother called Abu Ibeji, right, who is the head of the large Jama'ah. This large Jama'ah people, they believe that anybody who believes to an organization is a kafir. And that we should not have Jama'ah at all but no problem, they are free to have that, except that they now focus on Dr. Bilal al-Ashraf. They not only labeled him a kafir, Dr. Bilal has addressed us here twice. He was the one, I think it was a marriage, or this a relationship that he addressed us. Now, Dr. Bilal, anyone who has listened to him will know that this is one of the knowledgeable, very highly knowledgeable people in this country, as far as Islam is concerned, and a PhD holder as well, right? Now, these people will phone Dr. Bilal al-Asrar, whether it's at 12 o'clock or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., and they will be lecturing him, and Dr. Bilal will say, let us meet and sit down and resolve this issue. And they will say to him, we cannot sit with you because you are a kafir. You may wonder how I got to know about this. What they did not know was that every time they phoned Dr. Bilal al-Asrau, he was recording that conversation. And it has been going around. I've listened to 2 of them. Every time they phone him, he will answer and he will record. Right? And they tell him, you are a kafir, you are a muqtadi, you are a this. On one occasion, they called him and they said, but the man would not listen. He just wanted to talk, not knowing that it was being recorded. And Dr. Bilal was talking to him and talking to him. Another time, he will call again and again and again, right? Until Dr. Bilal decided to take 2 of them to court. 2 weeks ago, Abu Ibeki was jailed for 2 months. He was found guilty on all 4 charges, counts, but he had option of fine on 3 of them. He had no option of fine on the 4th, and he's serving his jail term as we speak. He's the head of the large Jama'ah people. Why have I mentioned this? We have this tendency amongst some of our children here in the companion and the criterion as well, right? And this is how it starts. What we now know, anybody who is as active on Facebook as I am, you will know that if Nigerian youth, Muslim youth, were to be allowed to carry guns freely as they carry guns in America, somebody would have come here and would have shot all of us. And somebody would have gone to Mecca and would have shot all of them. Especially those who give themselves that label of the Salafi, right? Because if you follow on Facebook, they are the worst of when it comes to this argument about pronouncing Sheikh Adam El-Ilori. I read this was just 3 weeks ago, was declared a kafir on Facebook. I saw it. Korodawi was described a kafir. I just mentioned Bilal al-Asrau, right? These are people who do not have primary 6 equivalent qualification in Islamic studies. And they are describing the best scholars that this nation has on the strength of one fatwa that they reckon that the scholar got wrong. The scholar gave a fatwa, which by their own misguidance, that scholar got it wrong. But even assuming that he got it right, we declare him a kafir on the strength of that. So, people are now going to jail on the strength of this issue, and we are going to see more of it because Dr. Bilal has led and has shown us the way. Now, may Allah guide us. Apologies, sir, for taking so much of the time.
Well, I will start from where Yamil has stopped. The topic of my faculty seminar that will be coming up on the 13th at the University of Ibadan is I'm bringing in this because of what he has said. The topic is 9/11 versus 11/9. The American dream, Boko Haram, and global terrorism in the age of Trumpism. I hope I will be able to touch on this issue that has been raised. I think the Muslim community is truly in crisis. It's a serious crisis. While it is true, like Ustaz has said, that Khawarij started a long time ago, but in the true sense of the word, the Khawarij did not go to this dimension that we are having today. Because you are talking of the Salafi, then you also have the Wahhabis, and so many all over the Muslim world. It's a serious issue. And I think the solution is enlightenment. What this youth need is enlightenment. Wallah, I took up a professor here in Unilag. That was back in 2012. I was not even supposed to be there because I was not a professor. So I was representing Professor Ibrahim from the University of Ibadan. And some of these professors were saying that the Boko Haram members are kufar. That anybody who can call a Muslim a kafir is a kafir. They will go to hell and everything. And I told him, sir, but are you not committing the same error that these people have committed? That is just the truth. And this is what these youth do not know. فَإِنِّي أَخَافُ أَنْ يَقُولَ النَّاسُ إِنَّ مُحَمَّدًا يَقْتُلُ صَاحِبَهُ. And I'm afraid that people will say, if I decide to even say I want to kill them, they will say he's killing his companions. How can you be killing somebody who is a Muslim and you say because he has a misunderstanding, he's a kafir? So they need enlightenment. This is my position. And every hand must be on deck to wage war against this fitna. It's a serious fitna. We must not allow it to get out of hand. Back to the questions put to me. Who will blow the second trumpet? I must confess, because this is what I've told you here. I've not read anything about who is going to blow the second trumpet. That is just the truth. What I can tell you is that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to tell Malakul Maut to go and ensure that everybody is dead, and he will confirm that everybody has died, including Israfil himself, and Allah will tell him, go and die. You know, Malakul Maut will die as a result of the command of Allah. Kun. Allah will just say, go and die, for your kun, and you die. So Allah can raise Israfil with his command and tell him, go and blow the trumpet. Reciting Surah to Ikhlas. Why Surah to Ikhlas has been adopted is what we have in the hadith that all of us are aware of. That the Prophet said this surah is equivalent of 1/3 of the Quran. A Muslim scholar said, if you can recite 3 of it, it means you are reciting the whole Quran. And I think this is very perfect. I don't know how many times we will have the time to sit down and read the whole Quran for one person. But if you can read it last 3 times, it's like reading the whole of the Quran for that person. And I think that is good. What I'm only advocating for, and that is the thrust of my presentation, that it should not be linked with occasions. It is what we should be doing all the time. All the time. All the time. Now, for children, I think what we have forgotten is that the obligation to pray for the dead is not only on children to their parents. It is on every Muslim. It is our obligation to pray for the dead Muslim. That's our obligation. And that is one of the things Muslim said is the right of a Muslim over another Muslim. When a Muslim dies, it is our obligation to pray for that Muslim. And that is why it is sunnah to do everything possible to be among the sufuf that will pray for a dead Muslim. You see, this is one of the things we miss out. That a lot of people, when they hear somebody is dead, they will not start planning how they can attend the janaza, even if it is going to be in the next 1 hour. But they will be waiting for the 8th-day prayer. That has no basis. Because I read it, I said it here the first time I came, that the lines that prayed for a Muslim, the more Allah will accept the forgiveness of that Muslim. So what that Muslim needs, whether it is child or parent or friend or wife, is our prayer. It's not just children. Everybody has that obligation. And like I always tell people, even when we do janaza, what does the Prophet ﷺ say in janaza? He prays for the dead. He will pray for even those who are alive and those who are dead. And he will tell Allah, in kana muhsina fazid lahu fi ihsanihi wa in kana musihan fatazawwaj anhu. Allah, if this person is a good Muslim, increase his goodness. But if he's a bad Muslim, forgive him. You have the power to forgive him. That is what we are supposed to do for our dead. Prayer. It doesn't matter whether it is a child. It may be painful, but we also pray for that child. If it is our friend, we pray for. What they need for us is prayer. So everybody that is alive has that obligation to pray for those who are gone. And maybe I took it from my teacher, because that is a tradition I've also established in my house. That every Saturday and Sunday, they must do fidal for my mother, whether they like it or not. So I never told them to, but I hopefully believe that once they have imbibed it, even when I'm gone, they will pray for me too. And that is what we should establish. Doing fidal as many times as possible. You don't need to wait for a special day to come and say you are gathering people for the purpose of fidal. Wow. It is something you can do anytime, any place. Even when you meet and you talk about that person, then pray for the person there and then. If I want to talk about the definition of a leader, particularly the hadith I quoted, Imam Adim, I will need another 1 hour to tell you what scholars have said about the Imam. But what I will just say, by way of answering that question, is that anybody, and this is an addition to the Prophet, who is in a position to take a decision that will affect another person must be just in that decision. It's an addition to the Prophet, that anybody who is put over the affairs of a Muslim and is unjust to that Muslim will face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment in a terrible situation. So in any capacity we find ourselves, maybe as a parent, you have to take decisions that will affect your children and ensure that you do justice. Because in that respect, you are a leader, you are their guardian. And it is believed in Islam that you are going to act in their best interest, not in your own best interest. And this is the problem. A lot of times when we think, when people say they are doing people in the best interest of people, it's a lie, they are doing it in their own best interest. So we should always put ourselves in the position of those on behalf of whom we are taking a decision, to know whether it is in their best interest. That is what justice entails. May Allah guide us. Yes, what I will say is what scholars have said. Innama al-a'mal bin-niyyat. You see, a lot of people take this and this out of their context. When people are doing what is wrong, and you tell them, my brother, what you are doing is un-Islamic, is wrong, they will say, actions have been done according to intention. That is taking the hadith out of its context. Because the hadith innamal a'mal bin-niyyat is talking about an action that is already solid, that is good, that is sawab, according to the scholars. Every good thing that you do, whether you do salat or you give charity, anything you do or fast will be judged according to intention. But any bad thing that is forbidden is up with the issue of forbidden. So the issue of intention does not come in. So it's taken out of the context. But when you have done a good thing, like you have done, you give somebody money and say, please don't announce my name. And the person now starts telling people, go and find that person. And now we judge you by your own intention. You have done it in a way that you don't want people to know you. But somebody has publicized you. That is not your own problem. That is where the issue of intention comes in. That's what I'm saying. They will be judged according to their own intention. But you will be judged according to your own intention. Even the sadaqah you give. This is something personal himself explained. You can look at somebody in your street and think, this Muslim, the way this Muslim is suffering, I don't like it. This Muslim is needy. I want to help. You know we do it. Maybe you can tell your children, take a plate of rice to these people, take this thing. But are you sure that person is needy? That is your own perception. You may be wrong. But Allah will not judge you whether you are wrong or not. He will judge according to your intention. You wanted to assist a needy person. Even if that person is not needy, you will get the reward. And that is why you may give somebody something. And the person may look at you, you come and give me cloth. Did I tell this person I need cloth? What is the problem of this person? But you don't have any problem because of your intention. Not to ridicule, but to help. So, let's try as much as possible to do things secretly. But if Allah wants it to be known, Allah has so many ways He can make it known. But that is not your own business. You have done it with the intention of making it secret. But it is Allah who wants to broadcast it. So you leave that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think I've answered all the questions I have here.